Okay, welcome everybody to Coffee and Art in the Morning. Oh, wait, where's Phil? Where's Phil? Mike, 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 Mike. So happy hump day. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm going to color in the baker's dozen today. I'll zoom in a little more when we get to it. Uh, and I guess I'll just kind of maybe read the pages as I go. I don't know if I really should read the whole book. But anyway, Aaron Shepard, who is the writer, and pictures by Wendy, she's the artist, Edelson, Edelson. She is the artist, and this book is just so, it's going to be like coloring, it's going to be like coloring a children's book, you know? And so, yeah, we're going to do that today. I will probably just use Prismacolors. I thought about using watercolor and some other things. And maybe I will. We'll see, depending on the area. You know, I'm not going to get into watercoloring tiny, tiny little things. And so we'll see how it goes. But we're going to color in this today. The other thing I just want, thanks guys, I got a new background here. This I just picked this up at Hobby Lobby. It's like one of those poster board things, and I think they're like $1.99. And so it's just beyond the edges that you see here. It's just beyond. I'm not sure exactly the size, but it's just beyond the edges that you see here. And it's like a faded wallpaper. And so see how it's kind of light pink here and gets darker and darker and darker. Anyway, so I just thought it was pretty, and I had to cover up the black because it was tearing. So I either had to take everything, off and put a new piece of the black craft paper on to cover up all the tears. But I saw this, I said, well, let's just go for it. Let's try it. But I just don't want anything too distracting from the project at hand. That's why I like black. It's not distracting from the project, but we'll see. Okay, so there is a glare when I lay it down because it's a shiny, and I got my ring light there. But before I do this, I want to say real quick, y'all remember on the last show, the last day, was it? Yeah, Monday. We did 3 episodes. We did a Mythomorphia episode, we did a book haul episode, and we did a postcard episode. This video where I spent about an hour talking about how I made these, how to make them, tips, tricks, and all that, will not upload to YouTube. I tried 6 times. I trimmed it. It just will not upload. And the one time I did get it to upload, there was no sound. So I just, I gave up trying to get this video up on YouTube. I'll put a link below for the, you can go to my Ustream and see the video. It's on Ustream. It's fine. That has sound. You can hear it. You can see it. Everything on Ustream. But for some reason, YouTube says, does not recognize file. And what are you going to do? It's an FLV. It's the same file that we always have. It's not, the other 2 videos, the one before it and the one after it, uploaded fine. So what are you going to do? But anyway, I'm just going to do a quick little flip. I did a little bit of work on this one. And I'm not going to talk about the process or anything right now because I want to get to coloring. But here's some, I showed how to cut out larger pieces as a base, and so it's just one of those quirky times that it's one of those quirky times where who knows why it didn't upload. But I'm doing these 3x5 postcards with distressed edges, and so got these all done. And well, I didn't work on all these on that it was only an hour video. It was only an hour video where I talked about the process of how I'm doing these, and starting with the black base cardstock and pieces of either calendar or book pages or whatever. Here's where I cut some up to show examples. Here's the bases. Here's some more pieces that I cut up to show how to start with bases so that you don't start with a blank page, right? That was the point of this. So how not to have a blank page to start. Now these are not done. They don't have a lot of painting done. They don't have my stars. They don't have my water. They don't have my mist. You know, there's just not a lot done on those except the first, I think, one or two I just did a little bit of work on. So I will just have to do another video. I'll just make another video where I show, you know, the process all over again. So yeah, so I just wanted to explain that because people were commenting on my YouTube comments. Where's the video? And that's what happens. It's on Ustream, but it's not uploading. So there it is. Yeah, so we're going to come back over to this, and I know it's got a glare, but once I open it up, you know, the pages are not shiny. So, so this is the Baker's Dozen. And pictures are by Wendy Edelson, story by Aaron Shepard. And they sent me this book to review and color in if I want. And of course I want. Let me get a sip of coffee, guys. And no, Painty Girl, it wasn't there. Okay, so the Baker's Dozen coloring book, pictures by Wendy Edelson, story by Aaron Shepard. And they're calling this a color storybook. It's a coloring book, a storybook, and more. You can color just the pages you want and enjoy it like any fine coloring book, or finish them all and create a wonderful storybook, a keepsake all your own, or one to lovingly share with children and grandchildren. So you know, color the whole book if you want to have your own version of a color, you know, an illustrated book to pass on. And they do note that it's a grayscale color book, and I guess if you are not in any way involved with the color book world, you may not know what the grayscale is, but they're already shaded. They have shading for you, and so and they say that doesn't make it harder. It can make it easier to get stunning results. And it says, for tips, search online for grayscale coloring. Of course, we all here that watch this show anyway know what grayscale coloring is. So anyway, they say that you can, you know, feel free to share your finished pages. Just give the artist credit, which, you know, that's pretty standard with all, you know, color books. You know, they want to share, they want people to share their books, obviously, you know. And so they said this is adapted from a beloved children's picture book with an inspiring traditional Christmas legend retold by award-winning author Aaron Shepard, and 15 pages of lovely, finely detailed art by award-winning children's illustrator Wendy Edelson. Talked about it being grayscale. They're printed on one side now, but the words are on the other. So obviously, if you use if you use alcohol markers, that's going to go through and it's going to ruin the story. So, you know, you can color it any way you want, but if you want to keep it as a book, you're not going to want to use alcohol markers. And they do give you a test page in the back so that you can test whatever you're using, albeit, you know, alcohol markers are going to go through, obviously. And they have they're framed with black, which you're going to see as I flip through. All the pictures are framed with black, and that makes it more, you know, dramatic and stand out. Pure white paper for maximum brightness and contrast. I think I'm going to have to go get some juice, guys. My voice is going this morning. Let's see. I'm just kind of going over the high points of it. Oh, and the book, they say the book is available in paperback and hardcover with the same paper. So you can choose if you want a paperback or hardcover. I went on Amazon, and I think the only one I saw was the paperback. So I'm not sure if the hardback's on Amazon or not. No, go ahead, Jean. Go ahead. Pages may be freely copied for personal use. Practice on as many copies as you like before coloring in the book. Color pages may be freely shared with credit. Show off your work, give us gifts, or sell your individual works of art. So there's their little statement on using it. They have like a presentation page where you can put your name and date, or you could, it says coloring by, and you could also, if you're giving it to somebody, make a note of that. This version is published by Skyhook Press, and again, I did see this I looked it up on Amazon. I will read I'll read the ISBN number. And I think I'm gonna have to go get some juice, guys. 978-162-035-5626. And they show the finished pages, so that if you want to color, if you want to color them like, I guess, like they envision, from the story. Both versions are available on Amazon, Terry said. Okay, thanks, Terry. I saw the paperback version because I guess I looked it up by the ISBN. So, but Terry said both versions are on Amazon. This would be a awesome hardback book to color, I think. And so they have samples of how you can, if you want to color it in their, what they envisioned the story to look like. You've got samples. Of course, obviously, you don't have to do it that way. And I looked, and I talked about this when I showed it on Monday's show, when I showed my little book haul show. I talked about wanting to go through and color, like, well, I'm gonna flip through the whole book, of course, but coloring like one thing at a time, like all the Saint Nick's. And they have, like here, the cookies. It's a baker, right? And he's baking these cookies that look like Saint Nick. But like going through the whole book and coloring all the Saint Nicks. Then going through and coloring all the, the one character or the other character. And coloring them all. So if you wanted to be consistent throughout the whole book, then I would recommend doing that. So that you're getting everything the same. Does that make sense? So it starts off with, in the Dutch colonial town, later known as Albany, New York, and I'm going to zoom in when I go to color, but I think this gives you the whole thing. So you can see some of the pages are very tiny and very detailed. Very detailed. And so like here's a little Saint Nick here. There lived a baker, Van Amsterdam, who was as honest as he could be. Each morning he checked and balanced his scales, and he took great care to give his customers exactly what they paid for, not more and not less. So like here's the baker and the cat, and there's just so much detail. Cat outside. Well, is he looking in a mirror, or is that a window? I think he might be. Look, one's outside, or is that just two cats? There's another cat, because that could be looking out a window. And look at all the little detailed elements in here. And good morning, everybody coming in. Thanks for stopping in. Van Amsterdam's shop was always busy because people trusted him, and because he was a good baker as well. And never was the shop busier than in the days before December 6th, when the Dutch celebrated St. Nicholas Day. At that time of year, people flocked to the baker's shop to buy his fine St. Nicholas cookies. Made of gingerbread, iced in red and white, they looked just like St. Nicholas as the Dutch know him, tall and thin, with a high red bishop's cap and a long red bishop's cloak. Well, I don't know if I should read the whole story or just show the pictures. But it is the story of Saint Nick and a baker who, bakes Saint Nicholas cookies. But I do want to show all the pictures. See, the cookies are on every page. And so anyway, it goes on to talk about, well, I don't know. Maybe I should wait and ask if I could read the whole book. I didn't ask Aaron Shepard if I could read his whole book. I don't know if they want me to read the whole book. But I'm not gonna, obviously I'm not gonna finish this in one setting. So I'll find out. Make us buy the book to read. Yeah, see, that's what I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I should read the whole book. I want to show the book and the story behind it. I think you got the idea of the story behind it. You ordered your copy. It arrives today, Painty Girl. Good. So anyway, I just think the illustrations. Look at see all the cookies laid out here. It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful art. And the story's great too. It's, a nice story about Saint Nick and has a moral to it. I know, right? And again, this is the one from the cover. So if you wanted to like maybe start with something like this, if you wanted to color it according to, what they have put out there. I don't know. I mean, I want to color Saint Nick red and all that, but do I care if everything's exact? No. But you kind of, I want to kind of make it my own. But I do want to color the Saint Nick red, of course. So isn't it cool? Look at the shadows and the highlights and the lighting. There's another cookie right there. Isn't it beautiful, guys? Look at all the cookies in the background there. But look at the detail and the faces. I'm pretty close already. I'm already zoomed in pretty close. Isn't it beautiful? I know, right, guys? So I'll have to message Aaron and ask him if he wants me to read it. Because I don't mind reading it. Y'all know I'll read anything. But they may not want the whole story read, But I absolutely love it. It's just, and then here's some kind of like little sample, excerpts, here. You could practice on these if you wanted to. I know. I would like to know how long it took her to draw these too. Maybe I'll ask that as well. How much time did she spend? I mean, because it had to take a long time, right? Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and start coloring in it. And I know there's a glare on the ring light with the cover. So let me just prop this up a minute while I'm digging for some pencils. Let me just it just has to prop up just enough to keep the glare off there. I know. Let me real quick, guys, I'm going to put here's hump day Phil. Let me go run downstairs and get some juice, guys, because this coffee is not helping my throat. So hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, got me some cold cranberry juice. I think that's what my voice needs this morning. Okay. So I'm going to start by going through the whole book, just like I said I want to do, with the base. And I'm not sure I want red. I might want like a terracotta as a base. And then, so it's not really bright red. And then go back over and shade with some brighter red. That's what's in my head. So let's see. And of course, let's see, what red is this? That's scarlet, maybe those 3 reds and a white. And probably a dark gray. because we'll get into the, I don't know that I'll need black, but okay, I want to start with these colors. And I'm going to zoom in even more so just the book is showing. Y'all want to see this done? Okay, so I'm going to start with the lightest coat of terracotta or sienna. Is it sienna? Sienna. Terracotta and sienna look almost exact the same to me. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let's zoom in. And I might need to darken it just a tad. There we go. So how's that look? Does that look okay? Okay, so all the little cookies here, I'm just kind of looking at one that's pretty standard. Even the little, around the little staff there, that's just brown. I'm just kind of looking at what the cookies look like. So what I'm going to do is that zoomed in enough, guys? What do y'all think? Because it has the whole picture. This will kind of show that for a minute. Well, I can zoom in closer on some of them. All right, so I'm just going to lightly, and I'm going to, it's kind of a test here with the terracotta, because I want it kind of a muted red. You know what I mean, Vern? Let me do a test one here. Could probably, I think, is there one in the back? What was one of the test ones? Yeah, here's one here. I might go to this next. So I want to get all the little Saint Nick's done. And I know you can't really tell because it is grayscale. So we'll do a little here and see how it goes. We can always move on to another part. But it's so fun to think about coloring this whole, like a whole storybook, right? I mean, is anybody else thinking that? And I'll have to message Aaron and ask if he wants me to read the story. Because, you know, I don't mind reading it while I'm coloring it. But I don't know if they want that done. So I'll wait and ask. I'll post this video to them and let them tell me. Okay, I want to see something else. Yeah, I think those are little red dots in there too. I just want to get a coating down. Hi everybody popping in. Thanks for being, and I'm not putting any pressure. I don't want to burnish the paper by giving it too much pressure, and then you can't put shading and layers on it. You know, you just can't do it once you hard pressure. Oh, and speaking of hard pressure, which I'm not doing, but I want to make sure to do this, and that is to put something behind where you're coloring. You always want to try to remember to do that. Put a piece of cardstock behind where you're coloring so that the pressure of your pencil or, you know, whatever you're doing doesn't go through to the next page. Because if you put any pressure on this, let me sharpen again, and it dents the paper, it'll dent the next page. You want to finish the whole book for your grandchildren, Painting Girl? Yeah, I know, right? I mean, it's just so, and of course, sitting here and doing this to me is very relaxing. You know, even though sometimes I hurry on the show to color pages because I want to show y'all the techniques. But, you know, sometimes you just got to color for yourself. Right? And not be talking about hurrying, I should say, not talking about, because I'm always talking about it, the techniques. So you can barely see where I've colored there. Let me just go ahead and do these little guys, and then I'll go to the back where the big one is, so we can have a big sample. And I'm using Prismacolor, but you could use any pencils. You could use, you know, I'm sure, and I could do a test of the water-based Crayola Super Tips. You could probably use your watercolor Zig Kuretake watercolor brush. Now these are actual watercolors, as opposed to the Crayola Super Tips are just water-based. These are water-based. These are actual watercolors in a brush marker. Okay, but we'll do a little test of each in the back here in a minute, so that y'all can see what can be used. And what I'll probably do is, after I color any of the little St. Nicholas cookies or himself, is where the white fur, you know, the white, like the fur along his robe and all, I'll probably go over it with Posca to make it stand out even more, like all the little white, you know, areas, little dots, like where the frosting would be. The frosting on the cookies would be white. I'll probably do that with the white Posca pen, because that'll really make it stand out. Okay, I'm going to keep sharpening because this is tiny. I don't know if y'all see how tiny. These little guys are barely bigger than a fingernail. Hi, everybody popping in. Thanks for stopping in. So, yeah. So, what's everybody else working on today? Hump day. Are y'all coloring? Are you drawing? Are you painting? Altering books? There's so much to do. I have been planning out in my head what I'm going to do with my typewriter, altered typewriter book. Oh, I'm so excited to start working in that. Like, you know, we need a new project around here, right? Yeah, this would be a great baby's first Christmas, you know, gift or something like that to have their whole life, you know? Okay, so it's just a nice little sienna color along as a base. Not anything too fancy yet. Okay, so let's go to this back page where there's this sample here. So St. Nick here has got, let's look here. Let's see what kind of detail they put in him. He's pretty much red and gold. Like red, I mean gold, the trim is gold, but everything else is red. So we'll go ahead and do that too. On him it's red. On the cookies have white, you know, white trim, like white icing, but on him himself, he has, the trim is gold. You'll probably do an art journal page later. Oh, good, Julie. I follow you on Instagram. More, I see most of your stuff on Instagram. Kmore's birthday shopping, 17 today. Oh my gosh, Karen. Can you believe? Can you believe? Karen is my cheer mom, bud. And her daughter that cheers is 17. My granddaughter Boo, who cheers, is 15. Yeah, another book added to your cart, Susie. I know, right? I know. Yeah, I mean, this is a special book if you color it all the way through, especially if you're going to give it to somebody, right? And it's going to take a while to color the whole thing. Don't, anybody that picks this up to color the whole book, you got to just look at it as a long-term project. Sure, yeah. Not sure if you're a pack rat or a hoarder, you're cleaning your craft room. She'll be officially senior. Yeah, Cam graduates, so he's my grandson's 18, so he got him another summer job. So I'm just gonna pay lightly. I can't say how light I'm doing this. I'm barely putting any color down, so much so that you may not even hardly be able to tell that I'm putting anything down. Maybe a little, but. And so yeah, all the trim on him is gold. All the trim on the cookies, and again, you don't have to color it exactly. I'm just kind of doing it for the sake of consistency and showing you guys, you know. And there's a lot of grayscale already done, so it's less shading than you'd have to normally do if you're coloring with color pencils on a grayscale. I'm drawing and coloring the drawings. What are you drawing, Lynn? Susie's colored a few all the way for my daughter. This will be another. Oh God, really, Susie? What have you colored all the way through? I'm working on some books all the way through, but I don't think I've ever finished a full-on book, front to back to cover to back. Well, front to back. My granddaughter will be in high school by the time I finish this book. Yeah, maybe. Kitty has a little granddaughter. She said she'll be in high school by the time she finishes this book. Kangaroos coloring in romantic country. I'd like to know if anybody has finished a book. Has anybody completely finished a book? I kind of don't want to zoom any closer than this because I want y'all to get the view of the whole illustration. It's just so beautiful. I just want to look at the whole picture, right? And I'm not sure if I want to use a gel pen on the gold here. Could use a gel pen or a, I don't know if I Posca. I got, because the gel pen's smaller. Where's my gel pen? Pentel gel pen for the gold. This one looks like it's almost out. I've got another one here. That one's silver. Oh, here's another gold. They have different, they changed or maybe I just wore the gold off. Off the pen. Not yet. No, you haven't finished a book. Lynn is doing tangles. Heart inspired. Zentangle and mandalas. Susie, the Peter Rabbit grayscale, and some Molly Harrison books. I'm impressed with anybody that's completed a whole book. Terry, because the only books I've finished are the ones I've read. Girl. Oh, so funny. And again, if you color something like, I wasn't sure, is this part of the robe right in there? Or, Wendy and Aaron are not going to email you and go, no, that's wrong. You colored that wrong. I tell y'all that about every artist. They're not going to email you and tell you did it wrong. Julie finished her 5th book. She does mandalas, however you want to say it. And she has, what are you up to, 500 and something days of continuous arting, Julie? what is it? 500 and I saw it this morning and now I can't remember the exact number. 500 and something continuous art days. Like it's like mm, 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 mm. Yeah, you haven't finished one yet either, Kingor? Yeah, me either. Okay, so there's just a nice light. I think I want the inside of that to be red too. And then there's the horses' bridles and things there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, because it's got a nice little muted tone on there. Today will be post number 576. Girl. It's awesome, Julie. I think I'm going to start with Scarlet Lake. It's a little, let me sharpen both of them here. It's a little brighter than Crimson Red, and I don't know if you'll be able to tell. They look pretty much the same on camera. But Scarlet's just a little bit brighter. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on there. Next. And I'm letting some of the sienna kind of show. I'm not completely covering it up because I wanted to have a muted red color. Maybe I should zoom in one more. Let's see. Two more. Let's put the camera down just a little this way. So I don't want it to get fuzzy, but I want y'all to be able to see. That looks pretty good. And I'll try to hold my pencil back far enough so my hand doesn't get in the way. Yeah, this would be a good one to color if you're contemplating your grandchildren coming on the way or something like that. You know? All right, so same thing. I'm going to just go down and... Oh, let me do one other thing. Take my black cardstock and put it behind just so that gives it some cushion, and also you don't want to dent the next page. Not that this matters on the back, but if y'all have any questions or want to ask or talk to me about anything, put it in caps so I know you're talking to me. Okay, and then I think I'm going to go back and forth to, let me add a little bit of white here and there. I don't want to get pink though. I got to be careful not to, turn the red to pink. But just a little bit of a highlight here and there. And again, I'm really taking my time here, guys. And I'll decide on like the beard and stuff when I want to do the white. Do I want to do a blue shadow? Do I want to do gray shadow? Can y'all see the difference where I'm adding the red? It's not real bright. That's why I put the brown down, the sienna down first, so it doesn't get really, really bright. I want it muted. That. Go in here with a little bit of white, because look on the front here. See how it looks kind of, I don't want to say it doesn't look pink, but it has almost like a salmon color tint to it. So, we could put some salmon color in there too. But this is pretty little, so I think I'll start with this anyway. And I might go over some of the places that I put white with a peachy salmon color. Little girl cat's out there meowing at the door. She wants in. The, Oliver doesn't, I call him Ollie. Ollie doesn't meow at the door. The girl does. Mally, she meows at the door to come in. But I bet you anything Oliver's sitting right there with her, just wanting in as well. Okay, let's just put a little bit of highlight there. Now, let me see. We'll give it a try. I don't know. All right, you're in. You're in. She doesn't usually come up here and bother me too much. But I say that. Here she comes. Oliver's the one that likes to lay on my work. But she just wants in here. I'm working on a portrait and on paper feels different on both sides, which is better to draw. I don't notice that much. I go on the front side of all of them. I use a sketchbook and I just go through the top. I use the top KZ. Okay. All right. Say hello to everybody, and then you're gonna have to go. Okay. Here's the girl. This is little Mally. Her name's Malibu. We call her Mally. So we'll just give her a minute. We'll give her a minute. Now she wants to lay down. She's purring away. Purr, purr, purr. We'll give her just a minute. Make her appearance. Make her appearance. I know, Jean, right? What are you going to do? Now she's all stretched out. Okay. All right. Can we color now? You going to let me color now? Just a purring. I know, they both are. They're both so sweet. I know, now she's headbutting me. Okay, so now I'm going to have to get down. There you go. You're going to have to get down, or you'll have to leave. I let them hang around in here when I'm in here by myself. Unless I'm painting. Paint, they have to go. All right, let me sharpen again. Thank you, guys. Yours haven't started. Hey, Suze. I know, yours are so tiny. Yours are still very little. Oops. Well, I'm going to cover it up with gold anyway, but let's kind of get that. Don't look at chat when you're coloring. Pick up your pencil and stop. How old are they, Suze, yours? Don't even think about making that leap. Don't make that leap. I'm not sure how the old Suses are little babies. They're almost a year, I think. Hubster's going to get out their vet paperwork because we got them from Denise after she had them fixed. So I think they're almost a year. Yours are 9 weeks. Sorry guys, I know some of it is the weather. It's been raining, and that makes it humid, which makes my voice activated. Okay, so, um, and I'm thinking that his little cuffs and that, see, that's like his underwear or whatever. You know, the long sleeved, like undershirts, if you want to call it that. And it kind of looks tan. I'm not sure if it's all like tan. I'm thinking, I want it to be gold though. I don't know if, I mean, it's kind of colored a tan color. Now I can see this being tan and the leather on his shoes, which we don't see in this picture. And the fringe here. I don't know. I'm wanting it gold. That's just me. It kind of looks gold or some kind of brass on the horse's bridle thing back there. And the shading on his beard is blue, which, and the horse too, which is, it has a blue and gray, which is what I like. I like my slate blue. So let's get a couple shades of blue here. A slate blue and what's this one? Periwinkle. So I've got a couple shades of blue here for the shadows in his beard. Our weather in Georgia, Florida has been. Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, that's where I am now. I'm in Atlanta, and it's rainy. We had a little bit of a break yesterday. Enough, and you know, the Braves have been squeezing in their games. You think the paper feels waxy on your tone tan paper? Are you using? Let me. Where's my book? Because I got one laid out here to work on. I can't show you because it's a gift, so I can't show that. But this is the one I use. Is this what you're talking about, KZ? Is this what you use? I just flip to the next page and use the top. But to me, I don't know that there's really any difference. I can't really tell a difference between the front and the back, but I just always use the top, so I don't know. But this is the one I use, and it's the it's 9 by 12. You go to Atlanta for your daughter's specials. So you don't live here, Susie? In Atlanta then? Okay, so let me go ahead and get a salmon color. Peachy salmon-y color. I have to, let's see, I don't want pink. I don't know if I want peach. That's too pink. This may be too orange. What is this one called? See, I don't know the names. This is salmon, I think. Yeah. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try a little bit of salmon. We're going to try a little bit of salmon. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Diana. You watching my napkin journal videos? All right, so I'm just going to kind of, let's just put a little bit on there. Let's just see. I'm not really seeing a whole lot. Remember, this is very heavily grayscale, guys. So, you know, you're going over a lot of shadows. Maybe it gives it a little bit more oomph. And the paper is kind of slide. It's not, I want to call it slick, but I can feel the pencils kind of, you know, smooth, you know, slick over it. I don't know if that's a good description. So I'm just going to kind of get in there a little bit just to, why not? Probably can't, doesn't show up on camera, but I'm just hitting it in a couple of spots. Okay, let me go back to the red again. I'm going to go up here in his hat. Did I put some? Yeah, I did put some brown down. So now I'm going to go up here with the crimson again. or the Scarlet Lake rather. Yeah, the one that I showed you, the Strathmore Tone Tan, is the only kind I use. That's the only tone tan paper I use. I mean, there's different kinds of big sheets. You can get a pastel type paper and stuff like that. I just don't use that because this just works for me. It's a good size. I like it. It's what I've always used. Well, not always, but for a long time. I just like it. All right, now I'm going to go in here with again with a little bit of salmon, which you really can't, I can't even tell this close up. You can just barely see it. Okay. Yeah, it probably is great for markers, especially alcohol markers. But two things. One, you have to, we'll test it here in a minute because it'll bleed through. You can't, if you want to keep the storybook, if you want to keep the story, you can't use alcohol markers on this. It's going to bleed through. But I'll do some testing here on this blank sheet. We got a blank sheet that they supplied in the back. And these are really for testing too. And but I want to test the Crayola water-based, and I want to test the Zig Kuretake watercolor brush markers. So we'll do that in a minute. Okay, so let's see. His little beard now, we're going to start, I'm going to start with the darkest of the two blues. See, I got the slate and the periwinkle to start doing some shading. And I'm just going to start with the very darkest and just follow the grayscale. That's where I'm putting this in. Eyebrows. Right under the hat there. I hope y'all can see because it's very light, But I don't want to zoom in so much that you can't see the big picture. Yeah, so, but I'm going to try some of the other markers here in just a minute. And this is good for testing as well. These three little vignettes in the back. And again, the next time I go to coloring it, I'll message Aaron and tell him, to see this video, but also to see if he wants me to read the story, because I don't mind reading it either. But again, y'all can get this version and the hard copy on Amazon. So a little bit of blue there. And I'm going to go with the light blue and just kind of feather that out a little. I want to keep a lot of it white. Of course, I can always go in there with some Posca, especially like on the very edges of the beard if you want to make some areas stand out. Or white gel pen if you prefer. I like the Posca. I'll leave most of it white like that. Thanks, Terry. Terry's putting in links for me. All right. So the cover has these tassely areas and this like fur stuff at the bottom, kind of a tan color. Like it's a soft suede maybe. And it looks like maybe that's what they have on the edge of his robe too. I'm thinking that maybe some of that might just be suede on the trim. might just be suede trim, but I want to do it in gold. So I'm going to. But on these larger areas here, I think I will put down a nice base of just a tan color, like a peach color or something, like a light peach, just to get a base kind of on there, just a little bit of a, so it's not pure white. Same thing for the little tassels here on the bridle. I'm just putting it in, it's very light. It's just so that knocks back the white, because I'm going to put gold lines on there. And the rest of this is all going to be gold. Okay, let me get in here now. I'm going to go in here with the scarlet, which is just a little bit, no, the crimson? The crimson. The crimson with just a little bit darker. I got a glare. Hang on, let me move my, I got a glare in my eyes. I want to just get a little bit more red down on this piece. A couple of spots that I need a little bit more red there. Thanks, Kenny. Why did you use blue for the shadows? Because it's more, it's more, and I do this with my portraits too. It's just more real. It's more real light than gray. Gray makes things look flat. And if you notice, even they use blue too. See the blue? I mean, there's a little bit of gray in there too, but there's blue. I'm not sure who colored it, if the artist colored the samples, you know, because they've all been colored at one point, because here's the back. You know, here's the sample pictures for you. And all the shadows, if you look at this night shirt. Look, see all the shadows are all blue. Let me put the blue. See? All the shadows are blue. I can't get any closer, guys. I'm already zoomed in like 100%. Okay. And same for the horse. Even the horse has blue. It has some gray, but it's also got blue in there. Okay, sip of juice. All right. Let's see. This little undershirt here. Give it a little bit of something, just because it's showing. All right. Now, I have to decide if I want to use gold. Give me a place over here to test. Get it going. Because I want all the trim to be gold. And I'm thinking the gold gel pen might be the, other than a Stickles or a glitter pen, this is probably the most gold of golds that I could get without watercoloring. I mean, this is tiny here, guys. I don't want to paint this in. I want to just like use a pen. So that way I can have a consistent gold throughout the book if I know I'm using this gel pen. And I'll hold it up so you can see the shine here in a minute. And I don't know what if this is colored in gouache with pencil, or is it all pencil? I'm not sure. I'm just kind of looking at what they may have done it in. I mean, like his outfit here it's basically all one color. There's one color on his whole outfit. The grayscale. The grayscale is giving it a two-tone effect. But, and I mean, maybe they did it with, I don't know, they could have done it with Photoshop. I don't know. But his outfit is all one color. He has a couple of different shades of the red and salmon kind of color in there. But right now, this is all, let's see, how much am I getting? I'm only getting this much of his outfit right now. That's all I'm getting on this sample is this much. So you don't see a whole lot of variation. You know, all that right there when I go to do the big page. Okay, so let's get finished with the gold here. So again, on the cookies, I'll do white because it would be like frosting, right? And these pintail pins, I get them in a 2-pack at Hobby Lobby. I think you get them at Michael's too. But you get a silver and a gold for like $4, and then you can even use a coupon and get them for a couple of dollars. So they're not, and they last a good bit, and they're in the Pentel. They're called Pentel Sunburst Metallic Medium Gel, and there's a gold and a silver in a pack. And I'm sure you can get them on Amazon and other places too. And they're consistent. They're really good. They used to make a white. They used to make a white is it Sunburst? Yes, Sunburst. But I don't know if I've told you all this story. So they came out with the white Sunburst, and this was at my Staples before my Staples closed down. But so I bought a couple of them, and they were really good. I really liked them. I use the Signos. I got tons of the Signo. But the Sunbursts were very consistent. They don't clog up. They don't skip. And now if you go over and get onto your waxy pencil, you might be picking up a little bit of your waxy pencil if you go over that. So you got to kind of clean that off to the side, scribble off to the side somewhere if you pick up a lot of wax. But for the most part, they're very, very consistent. So they made a white one. And I bought a couple at Staples, and I went back to get some more maybe a month later. They said, oh, those are just a promo. We don't sell those anymore. I said, oh, okay, well, I'll just go ahead and order it from online. Can you just order it for me online? There's a little bit of red back here. I said, well, then just go ahead and order it online for me. No, ma'am. You don't understand. They don't make those anymore. I said, what do you mean? What do you mean they don't make them anymore? No, those were just a promo. And I said, what are you, some kind of junkie dealer? That's a line from a Bill Cosby thing from the 60s. So I won't tell that whole story again. But anyway, so they quit making the white ones, and they just like leave you hanging. You know, you find something good, and they quit making it. It's like, what? What? What's that all about? Okay, so now let's hold this up so you can see can you see there we go. I mean, it's got a little bit of a shine to it anyway because of the paper's got a sheen to it, but can y'all see? There we go. See the gold? Yes. Yes, yes. Okay, the Geomorphia by Kirby, it's kind of like because Phantomorphia was thinner and one-sided, I think Geomorphia is his second one. His publishers apparently wanted him to do two books instead of one big one. They broke it into two. He caught a lot of flack for that, but bless his heart. Apparently he didn't really have a say in that. Okay, so yeah, see the gold? I think that's looking pretty good. I like that better than just a buff color, like a suede color. I'm liking the gold better. It'll give the book some shine throughout, and any place else you want to add gold, not just necessarily on St. Nicholas, but anywhere. Hi, everybody popping in. If you're just joining me, let me show you the cover here. We're coloring in the Baker's Dozen coloring book. Wendy Edelson's the artist, and Aaron Shepard's the author. And it's a retelling of a St. Nick children's book. And all the pictures are very detailed grayscale. I already did a flip through it, but here just for y'all's Here's the picture. Here's the one here that I'm working on the vignette of. In the back, the little practice piece, the practice section. So anyway, I like the Pentel Sunburst silver and gold and the white. Now I'm sure you could probably find them on Amazon somewhere, some leftovers or something, but you know. I pretty much have gone to Posca for white. I mean, Posca's got a lot of other stuff too, color and metallics and everything. The reason I'm using the gold pen in this case is because of the tininess of it. It's tiny enough to get on these details, right? But, you know, there's other gel pens and things you can use. I just wanted something that I could keep it all consistent. And I think this pen will work for me. So I know a bunch of y'all already ordered it. Some of y'all have it coming to you already since I showed it to y'all on Monday. Yes, Oma, it is. It's from Ruth, Where You Go I Will Follow. It is Hebrew. I know this is terrible, guys, but you know, about maybe it's going on it's over a year. My wedding rings, which I never took off, my wedding band and my engagement ring, I never take off, really, you know, I just years. I don't take it off when I shower, swim, because they were really tight. They were really tight. And so I just never took them off. Well, one day, I forgot what it was. Maybe it was when I had my eye, no, because that was a couple years ago. Maybe it has been a couple years. Had my eye surgery. And, you know, you got to take off all your jewelry and all that. Well, anyway, I couldn't get my rings off. And I knew they were tight, but I didn't know how tight they were. So finally I soaped and soaped. And I know there's a trick you can do with a string underneath, and there's things you can do. Anyway, so I finally got my rings off. And you can, it's not as bad as it was, but I had big dents in my finger. I mean, there were literally big dents in my finger from my wedding rings because they were too small after all those years of never taking it off, right? And so I said, well, I need to go get them stretched. All you have to do is you take them to a jeweler. They put them on one of those pole things, you know, it's like a little mini anvil thing. And it has different ring sizes. It looks like, hang on, in case you don't know what I'm talking about. It looks like this. It's like a little tower. It's like a little metal tower. And they have ring sizes all the way down. And they put your ring on there. They put your ring around there. And they just kind of tap it. They tap, tap, tap. And it stretches the gold. Right? And I just need mine tapped out to the next ring size. Because they were digging into my finger. Literally digging into my finger. So I just took them off. And I've been wearing other rings in the meantime. And I just haven't gone back over to the jewelry store to get them fixed. So it's just like, you know, Hupster and I said, oh, well, we'll get over there eventually. It's not like we don't know we're not married. A ring mandrel? Ring mandrel. Thank you. And so anyway, I just have to go get them tapped down to the next size. You know, over all those years, you know, your fingers get a little fatter. So anyway, okay, so now I think I got all the trim. I'm looking. So now what I want to do is I think I want to take my black, and this is tiny detail work, people. This is tiny, tiny work here. And I want to get, hey, Connie, anybody else? Thanks, everybody, for popping in. If I missed saying good morning to you. I want to get in here with black and I have the lights right in my eyes when I tilt my head. I want to get in here and do just a little bit of shadow under each of the gold. And I waited till after I put the gold on before I did this. So I didn't lose the gold places I wanted to put gold. So now I'm just going to kind of go in and shadow under the gold trim, just to make it look like it's a little bit dimensional, maybe. The gold trim, that is. Just the tiniest little bit. Can you see? Just the tiniest bit. If it gets too dark, then go back over it with your red and kind of, pull it out there so it's not too stark. I like contrast, but you got to be careful with your contrast that you don't make it look too stark. So I'm going to kind of feather that out. Where I put the red, the black, I'm just kind of going over it with the red. And nobody's probably going to notice this but me because it's so little. But go back with the red. Just gives it a little bit more depth. And I can't say how they colored the original, like what you see on the back cover or on the front cover, because here's the thing, guys. If they wanted to, and again, I don't know who did the coloring or how they did it, but they can blow this up in Photoshop, and they could even print out a big piece. They could print this out as big as a poster if they wanted to, and color it, and then shrink it down. So I don't have no idea how they colored this. They could have colored this big, like this piece could be drawn. She could have actually drawn this quite large. This could be the size 16 by 24. Her drawings could be huge. And then they shrink it down, to the size of whatever book they want. I can't say for sure what they did, obviously. But I'm just saying that sometimes when you see something like that and it's so detailed and tiny, it's like, how'd they do that? Well, they didn't color it this small. They colored it larger. It is unfinished. The cover is, probably, well, I don't know, maybe the tree, I don't know. It really looks pretty finished to me. I mean, he could have more layers in his clothing, or they could have left this just faded out like this. But it's winter too, so, it could be just because it's winter. They wanted it very pale like that. Let's see here on the back. Yeah, it is a little bit more complete on here. So yeah, you're right. This is just not completely shaded in yet. Because look here, there's more colors in his outfit here. Very tiny. I mean, this is only like 1 by 2 inches. The back. You can't really see a lot of detail. You just see like an overall color, right? Okay, so anyway, what I'm saying is when whoever colored and when she drew the pictures, or when you see any kind of like children's book or any kind of illustrated book, you don't know how big the original piece is and then shrunk down. It's like when I used to work in the cross stitch industry before there was, I guess I never want to say before there was computers, because I don't mean that. But before there was desktop publishing and that kind of thing, the pieces that we worked on, that we hand drew with Rapidograph, now they probably do computer. I don't know. I don't cross stitch, but I'm not in the cross stitch, and these are from the 80s. But let me just show you. I'll show you close up. Here's one of the books that I did. All right, so all this right here in this cross stitch book, now they probably do all this with computer. This is all hand symboled. Everything you see here in a cross stitch book from the 80s, this is from the 80s, that's all hand drawn. This is all hand drawn, and the red is hand drawn on an overlay, which when they printed it, they printed some of the designs in red so that there's a distinction between the red and the black. But every bit of this is hand drawn. Can you see how tiny that is? Y'all know if you've ever done cross stitch how small the designs are, right? And of course here's the key, so you can see I can't get much closer than that. The color chart here. So all this is hand drawn, but we didn't draw it on a piece of paper this big. I mean, this is like 8 by 10, right? Or whatever the size of this book is. We drew this on huge, our squares, each one of these squares when we drew it were this big. They're like a 2-inch square. This is like a 1-inch square. Maybe it was a 3-inch. Nah, it was probably, I don't know. It was that big. The squares were about this big. So we didn't draw this tiny. We drew this squares and this big, and they shrunk it down. Well, that could very well be the case with this art. She probably didn't draw this tiny, people. She probably didn't draw that tiny. These are probably done on, maybe, I don't know, 1624, 16 by 20, who knows? I don't know. But they're drawn large and then shrunk down. Yes, they were done by hand. Yeah. This is one of the books that I did back in, this is from 88. So when I worked for the cross stitch company. Yeah. Yeah, I would like to know how long it took her to illustrate the book. I would like to know how long it took to illustrate the whole book. I'm sure it was some time, because this is a lot of work. But anyway, I said all that to say that you're coloring very, very tiny. And when you look at things like this that have been colored, I can guarantee you they didn't color them this small. So when you're coloring them, you're coloring very tiny, tiny places here. So I'm just kind of getting in some of the around the gold here. But this is really like, this is like, a collector thing for your grandkids or your kids or whoever you color this for. You color this whole book. This is a keepsake for sure. This is a lot of work, which is fun, but at the same time, it's a lot of, it's a lot of work to color. So I just want to get a little bit of shadow under each of the gold parts here, and that also crisps up the detail. Could probably do this with I could probably go in here and do some of this like little sharpening up with the Sharpie pen, not a marker, Sharpie pen. Where's my Sharpie pen? One of these Sharpie pen, and these come in all kind of colors too. But you think you have that cross stitch book, Lynette? From the 80s? Yeah, now color nowadays, they probably do it all computer generated. We did it all by hand back then, but now they can probably, print their designs out, just tap a bunch of X's and O's and C's and, just type it in, on Photoshop or some kind of a program. But anyway, the Sharpie pen is what I was talking about for, like, if you want to get in here, like in the centers of all these little gold diamonds. You can do this with a pen. The pen doesn't go through. Don't do this with the Sharpie marker. So if you want to get in here with details rather than a sharp pencil, get in here and crisp it all up with a pen. You know, that's what I do with pupils and the eyes and, you know, things like that too. A Sharpie pen. So you can get in there with that. It's much easier than just, you know, keeping your pencil needle sharp. Like inside the little designs there, in the middles of the little diamond shapes. Okay, there's one more there. Okay, so you can see we got his little jacket there. Yeah, you make your pattern. Yeah, see, nowadays you can even make your own patterns, cross stitch patterns, and probably, you know, embroider all kinds of, you know, stitchery. Yeah. Yeah, instead of having your pencil needle sharp, you can just use a pen to get in those tight places, right? Okay, so there's more of the true color right there. See, I have it like this. So you see the light shining on it. Maybe I move the light out on there. I don't want it too dark though. That's the thing. I got to kind of balance between light and true color. There's the true color right there. Okay. So that y'all can see that. But I have to give y'all light to see, you know. And then you can see the blue in his beard too. I don't know, maybe I just hate to darken anything too much. But I would like y'all to see the true color a little better. But see, when I darken it, it darkens everything, not just the color. It darkens everything. So I can get a truer color, but it makes the page kind of dark. So it's kind of a tricky business, trying to do one or the other. Like keep the white, but keep the color, the true color. And so, all right, that's probably as good as we're going to get. Because we're so zoomed in, guys. This is very little. Look how little. That's tiny. I'm just really zoomed in. Okay, so now the other thing I wanted to do was my gold. Was the fringe. So I'm just going to hand draw each piece of the fringe. Here. Some a little thicker, because on it looks kind of like a tan, like it's a suede strips of fringe, but I'm going to go ahead and do gold and maybe just do a little bit of shadow like right up under here and maybe right up under there, but I want to keep it gold because I think for the book's purpose, the sake of the book itself, having it done, the gold is going to look really dramatic rather than just tan. But you can do whatever you want. If you want this to be brown fringe, tan fringe, and same thing for the fringe on the horse's bridle, I'm going to do that in gold too. I'm going to go in between just a little bit with a brown or something, but I want it to be gold. Let me get a... just a medium brown, and just put a couple little. I probably should have done this before the gold because it's hard to go over gold at all. But I'm just going to put a little bit of. See, it kind of got a little dark. That's the true color, but the whole overall piece got dark. Just a little bit of shading in there. In between. Bye. Thanks for stopping in. There we go. So you can see that's more the true color, guys. All right, let's do a little test now. Let me back out again so you can see really how much we're zoomed in. See how small we're working? Well, let's go in one there. And the sun's coming out too, so that's making a difference. All right, so now what I'm going to do is test a few things. Okay, and again, we'll color more in this book. Because what my plan is to go through the whole book, and like we did here at the beginning, I already put a little bit of terracotta on all the little Saint Nick's. And let me just do one here so we can kind of see it. So now I'm going over the terracotta. Whoops, don't busted my little point there. Don't push too hard. I'm just trying to get in these tight areas. And do one. And what I want to do is then I'll take my white Posca and like, oh, hang on, you can't see anything. And what I want to do, well, wait a minute, I got to get some little shadows in there first. Because I'm not doing gold on the cookies. Like, these are the cookies, if you're just joining us. It's the Baker's Dozen. It's a story of St. Nick and a baker. And maybe it should go in here with the pen. Would be easier. Get some of those little shadows in there. But I don't want it too shadow because it's a cookie. And so these are all cookies, right? And the frosting on the cookies is white. So even though I'm doing gold trim on the St. Nick person, the cookies are all white trim. White frosting. All right, so now I'm going to take my Posca and I can highlight any places that need more frosting or where I might have gone over accidentally got on some of the frosting with red or any other, color. And I guess I could shade the cookie's beard a little bit, even though we don't want it to look like there's blue frosting. But I can put a little bit of shadow on the white frosting, just maybe on the sides and right under his mustache. Just a tiny, move that pencil, just a tiny bit. And we'll go through it again and kind of pick out some things. So, but my plan is to do all the St. Nick cookies and characters in the book, and then go and maybe do, all the baker, You know, pick out the baker and do any place that has the baker. And then just go through and do all of the individual ones. Do it individually. That way you'll have it all consistent. Now you want a cookie? All right, so let me kind of add just a little bit more red in spots. I don't want it bright red. That's why I put down the terracotta first, so that it wouldn't be like cherry red, more of a muted red. Okay. So something like that. So you can see the difference between the first one and the second one. So this is just with the terracotta. This is with the red. And then I put a little bit of blue on all their beards, and I can go over it with white and kind of, you know, blend it out a little. Okay. Let's back out a minute. Okay, here comes Oliver. Hey, Ollie, you want to say hi to everybody? Let's back out. He wants to rub on the pencils, rub on the markers. You want to say hi? He's the fluffy one. I call him the snowball. He's bigger than his sister, like almost like a third bigger. All right, let's lay down here and say hi. Let's just lay down here. I'm going to make you lay down. I'll make you lay down. Kitty massage. Kitty massage. Let's give the kitty a massage. Now he wants to play with the pencils like he always does. You're going to have to get off here now. Make your little appearance. Yeah, Posca does make the difference on the white. So anyway, now what I want to do is I want to go to the back. We'll move him in just a minute. He wants a cookie. You're so fun. You're just so fun. We just love them. They're so fun. And again, I never care if they do this when I'm not on a show, or as long as I know I'm not painting, you know. Because the paint, I don't want paint on their fur. And see, he has like a little widow's peak, and she has bangs. Bye, Terry. Thanks. Keep us posted on your, you know, what you have going on. Okay. Yeah, keep me posted, Terry. Are you going for your, wait, did she say she was going for her scope today? I was going to tweet something to her. Terry, are you going for your scope today? She may have already, by the time she hears this, because there's a lag in chat. I'm waiting, because I wanted to tweet something to Terry. We talked about it last week. Hey, Lisa. We're just having a little kitty break, a little pause. Having a little kitty pause. He purrs, but he's not, no scoping yet. Okay, Terry. He's not a loud purrer. His sister, you could hear her purr, and she's a talker. Terry. Okay, you're going to have to move now, big guy. You're going to have to move. Okay, Mama can't do her coloring with you right there. I know you want to play with the pencils. I know, that's true. He'll stay forever if I'm scratching his neck. Yeah. His sister was in the window. She left. Okay, so I'm going to have to drag you off. Gonna have to drag you off. Yes, we're pausing for the pause. Yeah. All right. Come on. Come on. Come on. Get in. Come on. All right. Let me take him out and close the door. You're gonna have to go, big guy. There we go. So if y'all are just joining us before the cats, we're working on the Baker's Dozen coloring book by Wendy Edelson and story by Aaron Shepard. And here's like some completed pictures there so you can see, well, you can't really see, but you can see the color family, and which are all my favorite colors to use. You know, blue grays, ochre, sienna. You know, those are my favorite colors to use. Y'all know that. Because the minute she had a strange voice, she was gone. Really, Jean? Oh, okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and zoom in. By the way, I do have a new paper down here. This is one of those posters that you can get, poster papers, for like $1.99 at Hobby Lobby. And they have all different ones. It's over there. It's not really next to the paper. It's like on another aisle behind the paper at my Hobby Lobby. But they're like poster size. I'm not sure. Let me measure for you how big they are. And they have some with gold foil in them, like gold foil dots. And I think those are like $3.99 or something. But just the flat color ones, they're only $1.99. So I got this one just to play. So this one is 18, about 30. I think it's about 30 by 18, 22 by 30, something like that. I've already taped it down so I can't look at the back. So I can't look at the back. Okay, so, but anyway, I just thought something different. This is a faded wallpaper. So you see how it's light pink here, and it gets darker, darker, darker. That's not the lighting, that's the actual paper. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do some testing in the back on the blank sheet. So here's a blank sheet in here, which, you know, make sure you put something in there. But if you do color the whole book to give to your children or grandchildren or whatever, and you use this test, you could tear this test sheet out when you're done. You know, you don't have to keep that test sheet in. But the reason they put it in is it's the exact paper that the piece is in, so you can test. You know, I'm thinking it is anyway. This looks a little darker because of the ink, I guess, because of the ink. Anyway, so what I want to do is I want to test, and we'll just like use red because it's a good color to show. All right, so this is just a Crayola Super Tip marker, which I like the Super Tips if you use them for whatever, because you can get thick lines, thinner, and you know the point is very thin. So this is why I like the Crayola Super Tips. Hey, Ann, did you get moved? Did you get all moved, Ange? Are you at work today? Okay, so it slightly goes, but that's not enough to stop me from using them. Because even if that showed through to the side where the text was, that's not going to bother me. I don't mind if that kind of that slight of ghosting shows through onto the text. But again, always, you know, put a piece of paper between just to make sure. So I wouldn't mind using that, you know, a Super Tip. Okay, we're going to test them all. All right, let me get a watercolor marker here. Let's get red. Now this red's not quite as dark as this red, I don't think. This is carmine red. And this is watercolor. This is not just water-based. These are actual watercolors. So they're going to be more highly concentrated, right? So let's see. And if you want to do any blending, then it's even going to be more saturated. So let's do just plain. And now let's do a little bit with blending, like orange and red here. Because these are watercolor, you can blend them. But because you're adding a lot of water, it's going to be more likely to go through. But you can, it's a little bit, it went a little bit more. Oh, sorry guys, let me close my blinds. Sun's coming out now through the rain, which I'm not complaining about that. But it does, you put up a block. but it does make the sun blast out my show here. So you can see where just the watercolor and then using two to blend, because you got to have them kind of both wet to have a wet edge. I was waiting to see if Ange got moved, but I haven't seen anything in caps. So you can see it's going through just a little bit more because you're adding more water, right? Now remember, these are thin papers. So that's with the double wet there with the orange and the red. So you can see it's wanting to come through. You couldn't do much more blending than what I just did without it coming through. Which, if you don't mind, if a little bit goes through, ghosts, you know, shadows through to the text, then, you know, that's okay. All right, now I've got it too dark. All right, I close the blinds and okay. So that's with the watercolor marker. Let me make a note of this because later someone's going to ask and I won't remember. Where's my pen? Here we go. Okay, so this is the Crayola Super Tip. This is the Kuretake, I'll just call it the Zig. It's the Zig watercolor markers, brush marker. Two zigs blended. Just so we know what we're trying out here. Okay, now let's go to put that up. We already did some, let me do a Posca color. Okay, so let's do some red Posca. Oh wait, by the way, there's private chat now. You're in the window and the word private chat comes up. You mean like a whisper? Like, didn't we always have that, Jean? Couldn't you always talk in private here? I thought we always had private chat, but I never really did it. A message or whatever you want to call it. Whisper, message. I thought we always had that here. Okay, so here's some Posca. Okay, and that doesn't even show really at all. I mean, I can barely see it ghosting, but the watercolor, because of course it's the water, guys. It's the water that breaks down the paper that makes it bleed through. But the Posca is very dry. When they switch, the new chat disappeared. Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that. So now it's back again, Jean? Okay. Well, that's good. All right. So there's that. Now let's try, just to show you, let's go with a red Sharpie and a red Copic. Okay. So we'll show those two. They've reprogrammed it. Oh, okay. Thanks, Jean, for the info. All right, so here is, let's make sure we got something behind this. Okay, so here is a Copic. No blending. This is just one layer. And here's a red fine point Sharpie. So if you were doing tiny bits, you know, like, because this is a tiny book, so you might want to use a tiny pen. Now remember that there's a difference between the Sharpie marker and the Sharpie pen. The Sharpie pen says Sharpie pen, and it does not go through. Sharpie markers, we're going to see what happens, right? But they both have the fine point, so, you know, sometimes you might think, oh, well, it's the same. You know, I can use a Sharpie marker fine point. It's different. I'm telling you, it's different. We're going to see if this went through. Okay, so where's my pen here? All right, so this is a Copic. and a Sharpie marker, fine point marker. All right, let's see what happened. So there we go. So the Sharpie pen, you can see where it's coming through, and I didn't even do a solid. See, I just did kind of like lines. If you wanted to do that solid, let's try that. Let's do just a little spot of it here. Like if you wanted to color in something solid with the Sharpie, fine point. Okay, so there's the Sharpie fine point, scribbly like, and then there it is solid. Okay, so you can see there. And actually this Copic, that's gone through less than I thought it would. But that being said, there's no blending there. That's just if you use your Copic straight on. If you want to do any Copic blending, then you probably might have some issues. You know? So let's put a little Copic, and let's put a little yellow to try to blend. So it's not even wanting to blend really on this paper. But if you were trying to blend it out, it's not even wanting to blend on the paper, let alone you're not going to want to do it because of this. See? So, yeah. There's the info on those different ones. Let's see, what else do we want to test? We can test some acrylic paint, watered down. Let's put, because it won't go through at all, just straight with no water. I'm almost out of my red. So let's do it both ways here. Let me get a brush here. All right, so we're going to just get with, here's just Americana craft paint. Okay, with no water. Okay, so this is Americana craft paint, no water. And that's what I use, that's how I do backgrounds. You know, now again, this is very detailed, guys. There's, you know, you could do some washes in this, you know, but there's not a lot of flat, there's no sky, you know, no real place to do a background. Maybe right there on that blue or background there. Maybe, you know, they did a brown background, flat background there. And again, I have no idea what they used to color. This could have been done in Photoshop. It could. I have no way of knowing what, you know. Maybe Erin can tell me who did it, or if the artist Wendy Edelson, you know, the artist that drew it, if she did the coloring samples, or if this was done, what medium this was done in, or was it just done in Photoshop? I don't know, right? Okay, so that's just a flat. If you just want a flat paint. Now I'm going to water it down to make a wash. So if you're doing like a wash over a color book page where you want the lines to show through, you have to water it down because that's going to cover up your color book lines. Okay, so now I'm going to do a wash here. I'll just do one layer because that's what I tell y'all to do. Do one layer, let it dry, and then if you want it any darker, then put another layer. But if I keep adding water on here, it's going to go through in 5 seconds because it's the water. Okay, so here is Americana wash. Okay. All right, let me dry it. And let's see what happens. So you can see it buckled it a little bit with the wash. See it buckle a little bit? So, and that happens anytime you use water mediums in a thin paper. And this is not like, I don't think it's just like Create Space thin. It feels a little different. It's thin, but it feels like it's got some kind of a coating on it. But it still will buckle a little bit, which never bothers me, but it does bother some people. Okay, so there are those. And that would, let me see my brush. This would also apply with Neo colors or any kind of water-based. Like if you use your water brush with a Neo color, let me get one out here. Get a red. Okay. So these are the Neo Color 2 water-soluble crayons by Caran d'Ache. If you want a water-based crayon, get Neo Color 2. Neo Color 1 is just a wax crayon. It's not water, it won't move with water. All right, so I'm going to put a little bit down here with no water. Okay, and then I'll add some water here. All right. So this is Neo 2 with water. Okay, so, and I use a water brush when I use my Neos. And you can also just pick it, you can put it down and then blend it out. Okay. Or you can take it off the crayon itself and use that. So you can use it either way. Janet uses the back end of hers, and so she doesn't mess up the tips. But you can use the back end. And again, this can get darker and darker, but you want to dry it in between because it's the water that's going to saturate your paper. So if you want this darker and darker, you need to dry it in between your layers. Okay, is there anything else y'all want me to test? Medium-wise? Other mediums you want me to test? Okay, let me check chat, take a sip of juice. Let me look at my time. Okay, we've been here almost 2 hours, so we'll stay another 10 minutes working on it. And again, I'm going to do more than one show on this. And I am going to ask, let's make sure that's dry. Hang on, let me dry that. I'm going to ask Aaron if he wants me to read the book, because I'll be glad to read the book. You know, read the whole thing through. Oh, yeah, did the Neos show through? Okay, yeah, I guess we should test that, right? You can see a little bit of buckling. That's really not ghosting that's from the water. It buckled it just a little there. But you can see the water will come through. Water will come through if you get it too wet. Okay, but obviously if you want to use a water-based, this is the Zig Kuretake watercolor, and this is 2 of them, and then that's the Crayola Super Tip. And either one of those you could use. Water-based, they're fine. I mean, you can slightly see it, but that doesn't bother me enough to not use it. Stickles? No, stickles will... You don't want to use stickles in a book like this for one reason. Well, especially if you're going to be going from cover to cover to, skipping around. Stickles will make it rough. So let's say I put some stickles here and it dries. When I color this page, now of course you can always put something between it, but you're still going to have a bump. It's going to be, you don't want to put glitter on something like this because it's going to be a bump. If you wanted to put stickles or glitter glue or anything bumpy like that, Do it when that's the last thing you do. Because I use stickles on color book pages too. But you don't want to do it till it's the last thing you do, because it'll make it bumpy. And you're going to fight it on the next page. I have some in Mythomorphia that if I forget to put like a double cardstock between, I'm picking up the texture of the stickles from the other page. You know what I mean? So, you can do it, but I would, on a book that you want to do a complete storybook like this, don't put stickles till you're completely done. You know, I would only use watercolor and coloring books and watercolor paper in them with watercolor. Yeah, and there's very few that have true watercolor paper, actual color books with watercolor paper, Jean. You know, I mean, if he says at the beginning, if you want to make copies for yourself, that's fine. You could even sell your pages. You know, you just give them credit. It says show them, show off your work, give as gifts, or even sell as individual works of art. But they ask that you tell the, you know, that's only the right thing to do. I mean, that really shouldn't even have to be said that you give credit to the artist. But you know, so what I'm saying is, if you wanted to watercolor these, Jean, if I was like you, wanted to only do watercolor, then I would print these out on watercolor paper. Make your own book on watercolor paper and then color them all with watercolors. But some of it is very, very tiny. You're gonna, you know, that's little. That's to watercolor this is to be very patient. Yeah, and if you put stickles on every page, it's gonna thicken the book. That's true too, Jean. So, so you could put stickles on. I probably will not stickle this. I'm not going to stickle this book. If I want anything shiny, I'll use like the gold, gel shiny gold pen, or a glitter, which is, the glitter Poscas are not really glitter, they're shimmer. Jean has a video on the Poscas, the shimmer Poscas. I think they call them glitter Poscas, but they're really not glitter, they're shimmer. So, use a shimmer Posca, or what's that other stuff called? The shiny pen, that makes it shine like shimmer. What's that pen called? It's clear. It's clear. Oh, I think they have it in colors too. I have the clear one. The clear, I forget what it's called now. What is it called? What's it called? Winka Stella. You could use the Winka Stella because it's flat. You want to use something flat. Stickles and other kind of glitter glues that are in these things here, like this here. And this is the larger bottle. They come in the smaller ones. This is just the larger one. They're going to be bumpy. They're going to leave bumps. Okay. Yeah, Winka Stella. Y'all said it after I thought. No. Yes, the AB, that's what I was just showing. I know there's a lag in chat, so you probably are just now seeing where I showed it. But the Posca have the metallic. Yeah, they're shimmery. They're not lumpy. Okay, they're more of a shimmer than a glitter. So just FYI, they come in lots of colors. Plus, I have gold and silver, which Connie sent me gold and silver. Yeah, and these are like the jelly roll. These the Pentel gel pen. It's kind of like the jelly roll. You can use any of those. All right, so let me go through the book again, guys, and let me try to get the color back down to the true color, because it's a little darker than I have showing. Okay, so again, I will message Aaron and ask him if he would like me to read the whole book, because I don't mind reading the book and showing the pictures, but I didn't ask him, so of course he wants me to show the book. But and color in the book. So it's a story of Saint Nicholas and a baker. Here's the one from the cover and the little vignette that we were coloring from that. And again, I love the lighting on that. See how it's all done in blue? You don't have any other questions or anything? You don't have any questions for the artist? I'm just going to message Aaron and hopefully he'll answer. I'll link him this video, and then if there's any questions that we have, other than can I read the book? But isn't it beautiful, guys? Isn't it a beautiful book? Again, here's where we colored a little bit there and put the gold pen on there. And there, right about there's the true color. Again, I have the bright light on it, so it kind of flashes out the color, but there's the color right there. So, and these are like a little test page for you in the back, along with this blank paper. So I'll just wait a second for chat to catch up with the lag and see if there's anything else y'all want to ask about it. We're going to work in it some more. And like I said, my plan is to go through and color all of the cookies, all the St. Nicholas cookies. Like here's St. Nicholas here. Any place that there's the cookies or St. Nicholas, I want to color all those. Like here's a whole basket full of the cookies. How long it took? Okay, let me write that down. Pecola. Let me get that. Let me get a note here. Okay. How long to illustrate whole book? Can I read it through? And what was used to color the samples on the book? What was used to color samples? Okay. Yeah, I'll ask all that. Yeah, I do too. I use that, Joe. I use slate blue in all my portraits. In all my portraits, any place that needs shading with white. Yeah, I don't know if you guess you maybe you've never seen my portraits. Yeah, I use slate blue in all that too. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop this. I'll hang out with y'all guys, see if we want to do anything else. And so I hope y'all enjoyed the little bit of trial testing with the coloring. And yeah, and thanks again, Aaron, for sending the book. And we'll be continuing to color in it. So thanks, guys, for watching.